Well, great afternoon, great evening, great day, even for some of you that are going to join back later. We are so excited. Just one more time, do you have the opportunity to use this platform to just spread a little love, a little light to all of you amazing people out there in the world? You guys know what to do. Go ahead and like the video, share the video, and drop in the chat a hello. Tell us where you are joining from. Even if you are watching this replay later, still do the same thing. Drop in because we always go back and read. And remember, it's all about us growing our community. A community of people that are intentional in lifting each other up, and a community that is intentional in helping to seek solutions, and a community that's just intentional in spreading love and light. So we are so excited to have you guys tonight. Listen, we're flying solo, and you guys know I always tell you we are here for a good time, not a long time. Tonight, the topic is leadership. And we're talking about leadership mistakes to avoid. That is the topic of conversation for tonight. You guys, I'm always asking you what's in your cup. I will share tonight. I have just some good old lemon ginger tea in my cup with a couple of shots of raw honey. That is what's in my cup. And y'all look at this cup. So you better believe that your babies, your family, everybody is watching you. And in the process of everybody watching you, you are teaching others how to treat you. It's no secret, y'all. I love mugs. And so my birthday was a couple of weeks ago. Tyler Jacob Nelson, I don't know if you can see it says a teacher's heart is where it starts. He got me this. This is my new favorite mug. It is so, I love it, right? Because people ask me all the time, what do I do for a living? And my answer is steadfast. I am a teacher. I used to teach sixth grade math and I taught it up. Look, I still teach. My classroom is just different. But what's in your cup? Y'all drop it in the chat for me. I see you guys joining. So happy to have you guys with us tonight. But again, just always share where you're joining us from. We're happy to have you. But listen, we're going to jump right on in tonight. As always, we also start by dropping in the chat. I'm making boss moves. I am ready to make some boss moves. And somebody says, like, what is boss moves? What does that stand for? Boss moves means that we are ready to be bold, optimistic, spontaneous, and substantial. Remember that bold stands for you showing up the realest version of you. Not about being loud, but the real you. Optimistic, nobody benefits from negativity. Nobody, right? Being spontaneous, if we want different results, we've got to switch it up. And then substantial, we want to leave lasting legacies that help the world be better. Like we want to help people, places, programs be better. So that's what boss moves is all about. And it's about us intentionally. Like you got to know you got a choice. Every day you get to choose what type of move you are going to make. You're making some, right? Are they boss moves or not, right? So we want to challenge everybody moving forward to make some boss moves. Before we even, I see you guys, drop a praise break. Drop a praise break. Something good that has happened in your world. It doesn't matter if it's your professional world, your personal world, your emotional world, your spiritual world. Something good that has happened in your world. In one of the chapters of Boss Moves, it's important that we train our brains to find the good. I promise you, some days I too have to look a little harder than others, but I assure you, the more we train our eyes and our brains and our hearts to find the good stuff, you will find yourself in a sea of beautiful things. Do you hear me? But we've got to train ourselves to do that. So don't be scared. Drop it in the chat. What is something good that's happened in your world or that you are expecting to come your way? That's what I call a praise break. I will share with you that I just left the hospital again. And you guys, thank you for all of your support and your prayers with my sister. Y'all, she is legit up walking. She is like walking herself to the bathroom and back. And y'all, we were like, cheers. Yes, you cannot tell me that my creator, my God, is not giving miracles every single day. And so I'm so grateful for that. Share something good that's going in your world. And you guys know what to do. Like the video, share the video, even drop a tag in here for somebody that needs to hear this. And tonight, we are talking about leadership. Let me say this again. Leadership is not about a position. Okay. Leadership is not about you having the title of principal or you having the title of CEO. It's about you wearing the cape of action, right? That is what it is about. It's about you wearing the cape of action, right? And I listen at this. I see you, Dr. Thompson. I'm learning to yield. Thank you for emphasizing that word. I shared with a group of people at my book launch that was my word, right? And when I learned to yield what I thought needed to happen to what my creator, he was paving the way for me, but I was reluctant. When I learned to yield, right, this came out, contracts are coming left and right. So I will share with you, like I shared with Dr. Palmer, yield, stop trying to make things go your way at your time. There's a better plan. There's a greater plan for you. So you've got to yield to that thing. That is most definitely a praise break. Thank you for sharing that, right? And anytime, I want to remind you, stop, ask yourself, what is going well? That's a boss hack. Anytime you feel overstressed, overwhelmed, just give yourself a praise break. A praise break doesn't have to last longer than 60 seconds, but a pause to say, wait a minute, hold up, everything getting bad, everything getting horrible. Let me pause because I do have something for which I should be grateful. But here we go. We are jumping right on in. 4 leadership mistakes to avoid. So there will be a part 2 to this, right? Because there are quite a few more than 4, but these are, in my experience in the research, not only in the research and my experience in my own school, but now in my opportunity that I have to support schools all over. Really, I got schools even outside of the world that we're coaching at this point, right? But outside of the US. But it's critically important that I see this over and over and over and over again. Can I tell you? This is the number one that I see. And y'all drop it in the chat for me. Trying to do it in isolation. Drop in the chat. I don't need to do it alone. I don't need to do it alone. So let's talk about this for a second. Leadership is what? Drop in the chat. What is your definition of leadership? Because we've got to be clear that we're all on the same page with that first. What is leadership? And for some of you, you might even feel better saying what it's not. What is leadership? And I'll pause for a moment. There's always a lag, but I'll pause. What is leadership? What is it? We're talking about 4 mistakes to avoid with leadership, but what is it? What is leadership? I will share this quote, and I say it often and often and often. Like, it's a quote, it's not mine, right? But if you think that you are leading and you look back and nobody is following, is that true leadership? No, my friends, you are taking a walk. So as it relates to impactful leadership, you've got to know the whole purpose is that you're paving the way for others to come along and join with you. So this idea that it can be done in isolation is a fallacy. Like, it is not the truth. We've got to stop trying to do it alone. I see more educators, again, on blood pressure medicine, more like things that don't have to be. Let me say that again. It does not have to be that way. But we've got to learn that we cannot do this thing alone. Another great quote, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. But what did we say about going alone just a moment ago, right? If you are going alone, that's not a leadership walk. That's just a good old walk in the park, right? So we've got to keep in mind that it's not about you. It's not about you. Get over yourself. Y'all drop that in the chat. I just need to get over myself. I need to get over myself because it's bigger than me, right? It's not just me. It's not about, it's bigger than me. And so since it's bigger than me, purpose work requires partnership. Oh, that's a good one. Drop that in the chat, right? Purpose work requires partnership. So we've got to keep in mind that stop trying to do it alone. You're adding unnecessary gray hair. You are adding a whole bunch of unnecessary stress and undue task and headache and heartache because you are simply trying to do it alone. I was blown away when I first dropped that I was going to do a coaching program, and a part of the coaching program had some group aspects in it. I have received so many messages from women saying, I want your coaching, but if I can be honest, I don't want to do it in a group setting. And so, be me and me, a good coach is going to ask some good questions, right? So I really wanted to know why, because my purpose is to serve. And if the people that need to be served in a slightly different way, I want to understand that, right? I have been blown away at the number of women who say, you know what, I work in a toxic environment. I work in a toxic environment, and in my environment, coaching is seen as a weakness. Let me say that again. There are so many people who are working in environments where it is perceived as toxic or you are weak, right? if you are not saying, I can't do this alone, right? So I want to say to those of you, I hear you, I see you. And can I be honest? I feel you. I've been there before. And so, even just letting you know, for those of you who have said, like, would you consider doing the coaching just with me instead of in group? We see you and we are supporting you in that way. So just know that. But again, the more you build, the whole point is that you can't do it alone. So even if you have to go behind the scenes to get support, tell your neighbor it's okay, right? You've just got to know, don't try to do it alone. And remember, as it relates to coaching, the best in the world has a coach. The goats of all time had a coach, right? The goats will keep a coach because they understand that there's layers to this, right? There's layers to this. I can always get better, but I can't get better alone. I need some help. So again, for those of you who are saying, you know what, my school, my organization, like, I'm not at a space where I'm ready for everybody to know I need a coach. It's okay. Find you somebody behind the scenes. I assure you, there is somebody somewhere that is willing and able to support you on to the next level. But again, don't try to do it alone. You are killing yourself doing that. Okay. So that's mistake number one, trying to do it alone. Here we go. Mistake number two is assuming people know the vision. Assuming people know the vision. I was in a school about maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. I was called in to help figure out culture was feeling a little wonky, right? Y'all know that's my jam. It's my sweet spot. It's culture. And they just kept saying they couldn't figure out, like, everybody was whining, everybody was complaining, people were late into work, they wanted to leave early. Like, everybody was saying, for the most part, we have too much work to do. There's a new assignment, there's a new meeting, there's a doctor, and people were whining and reluctant to do it. One of the first things I asked was, well, what's our goal for the year? And there were crickets, right? There were crickets. It was this concept that we have been so overcome with listening to the pity parties and listening, and some of the complaints are valid, right? I'm not saying that. When people, like, you need to listen, right? Because often there is some realness in that you need to get to the bottom of. But people were whining and complaining because they did not understand what was being asked of them was a part of the vision. It was a part of how they were going to achieve getting out of this low status that they're currently in, right? So I want to ask you, do people know very clearly what your vision is in your organization? For example, is it so clear that a blind man could see it? Drop that in the chat. Is our vision so clear that a blind man can see it? And we know what so many great texts and the research tells us about vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish. We know that. We know that to be true. And so, as we're talking about vision, if people are not hearing it daily, if they are not seeing it daily, if they're not experiencing what we are moving toward, what happens is people start to go in circles. Like, what are we doing this for? They don't understand the why, right? And when people don't understand the why, I guarantee you there's going to be some mumbling and grumbling and all types of things in the jungle, right? But when we stop and say, have I clearly communicated to the folks that we are trying to increase accountability points by 100? Have I clearly said that we are trying to hit this bottom line? Have I clearly said that we are trying to attract this many new customers? Have I clearly said that our revenue goal is ... We've got to be crystal clear on the vision and then making sure that everybody understands it. Now, I will also share with you that research has shown us that if you think you've communicated enough, 9 times out of 10, you have not. Until you start to feel like you are a broken record, right? And I've been there, right? You think, I know I emailed it out 5 times. My friends, my dears, email it out 5 more times, right? Switch the content, make it long form, short form, think social media, right? You need to make sure that you're communicating that vision clearly in multiple formats so people have multiple opportunities to interact and understand what it is. So again, mistake number 2 is assuming that people know the vision. Drop that in the chat. I need to make sure the vision is clear and everybody knows it, right? I need to make sure that I clearly communicate the vision. That's mistake number 2. Here we go, y'all. We're dropping on to mistake number 3. Underestimating the value of appreciation. Oftentimes in organizations, even in churches, y'all, right? You have a core group of people who are deemed as the workhorses. You have a core group of people who at any given moment are going to say what needs to be done there. That's it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to go into long detail, the beg and plead. They're just going to drop, roll, right? They're going to drop and roll and get whatever needs to be done. And so what I want to say to you as a leader is to make sure that you are not negating to let those folks know you appreciate them, right? And often because they are so close, you assume they know your heart, right? And people may know your heart, but they need to hear it out loud. They need to see it out loud. Like support is an action verb. Y'all drop that in the chat. Support and appreciation, those are both action words. And so we've got to make sure that the people around us know that, right? So this is something else. Drop it in the chat for me. The 5 love languages in the workplace. You can Google that thing. There are so many activities that you can do that if you've not already done, so that you truly know what do your people perceive as appreciation, right? Because like Oprah gives everybody what she likes. And I'm here for it, right? Give everybody what you like, but we really must dig on deeper, right? Because if I'm only showing love and appreciation to you in the way that I perceive it to be, it's quite possible that I'm missing out on what you need, right? If I am only saying, I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you, but you would really appreciate me pausing, right? To spend 10 minutes on the outside drinking a Coke, all right, to show up. Like, you've got to be intentional about knowing your people. Drop it in the chat. I need to make sure I know my people. I need to know what motivates them, what drives them, and what affirms them, right? And I know so many times in 2024, it's like I got a dear friend, and she used to tickle me all the time, y'all. She would say, everybody gets a check. And that is so true. That is absolutely true. In addition to that, we've got to know that people have options. They have more options than they've ever had in 2024. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to figure out how some people are living without working. People have options. Drop that in the chat. Folks have options in 2024. And so if we really want to flip the switch to higher levels of effective leadership, we've got to transition our perspective to really view people as, you know what, these folks are volunteering their time. And that's a hard pill to swallow for some of us, right? But if we really want to flip the switch on both attracting and retaining amazing employees, amazing team members, amazing teachers, amazing whatever we've got to start treating people like this is volunteer work and hashtag you don't have to be here, because the facts are in 2024 people have options. And so we've got to make sure that even if that is not your natural thing to do, that's a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior. Like being positive, folks, that is a learned behavior. So you've just got to make the intentional decision that I am going to do a better job of showing people appreciation in the way that resonates with them. Okay. So y'all drop that in the chat. I will show some appreciation, right? Drop it on in the chat. Let's all of us, even me. Every single day, I have to dig deep, right? To figure out how do I better connect? Because that's what it's about, connecting, right? How do I better connect with the people that I serve, right? Because when I am better connected, I can better help solve problems, right? So we've got to know, and that's a hack. Do you hear me? That is a boss hack to when you step into that job in the morning, everybody in front of me is volunteering their time. They're volunteering their efforts. They're volunteering their treasure, right? Their time, treasure, and their effort. They're volunteering it, right? And so when we learn to view them that way, think about that. I slow down for my volunteers, and I make sure that they never leave my sight without knowing I appreciate them for helping us move forward in the vision, right? And so I promise you that will help you tremendously. It'll help lighten your load too, right? Because when people know they are appreciated, what happens? Drop that in the chat. When people know that they are appreciated, what happens? And I'll pause because again, there's always a lag. What happens when people know that they're valued and that they are appreciated? What happens? Again, we want to say thank you. Make sure you guys have liked the video, you have shared it. I am having some tech issues with two of my other platforms, but we appreciate you guys for joining on in tonight. So again, what happens when people know that they're appreciated? I promise you, they'll show up more. They'll show up more and they will do more when they know that you see the value that they bring to the table. And remember, it doesn't take rocket science, and we're not talking about you going in your bank account. Remember, appreciation is free. You just got to figure out how it resonates with those folks, right? Here we go. Never pausing to acknowledge the progress is mistake number 4. Drop it on in the chat for me. I will pause to acknowledge the progress. I must pause to acknowledge the progress. I can tell you from stepping into a high stakes, low performing school, trying to lead the charge and trying to rally and create team and create a culture that students wanted to be in, that, you know, teachers wanted to be in, that there was some lagging and some leading indicators, right? So many times we wanted those numbers, the school rate, like to move faster than they actually were moving. We were doing the work, but it was a lagging, right? Something it takes time to drive. If you want it to be sustaining, okay? Not just a one and done, but sustaining, you've got to do that. But in the process of that, y'all, we were doing so many amazing things, but we weren't giving ourselves any credit for the progress that we were making. And can I tell you, that is a grave mistake, because when you stop, pause, look back how far you come, it will give you the energy to move a little further, as the old folks would say, right? There is a particular space on one of the walks that I take in the morning on the bridge. Like the bridge is like this, like it's straight, then it goes up and then down, right? So the side of the bridge that I walk on is longer on the front side than it is before you get to the hill. It's something about after you get like to the top of the hill, you just be like, oh, I want to go back. I'm tired. I want to go back. But every time I get to that point, I pause and I look back at how far. I wasn't at the destination. I was not at the end yet. But when I pause and look back, like, oh my goodness, we have made so much progress. Oh my goodness, I have come a mighty long way from not jogging at all to running this far. It gives me the energy and the reminder that yes, you can, girl. You can go finish it. And that gives me what I need to finish it on out. And so we don't do that. You don't get that energy. You don't get that burst. You don't get that self-affirmation, right? If you don't pause to reflect on from whence you came. So I want to say that to you, to pause. And also in this same mistake number 4, we underestimate the value of your own leadership blueprint. Each and every one of us has a very unique, we're leaders, right? In our own right. But leadership is dynamic and it's multifaceted, right? It's so big, it's so wide, it's so vast. It's just so many pieces to it. Within leadership, each and every one of us has a unique gift. We have a unique perspective. We actually have a unique purpose, even within leadership, right? But I tell you what happens when we don't stop and pause to acknowledge that, you know what, I am a different type of leader. I do bring something different to the table. You negate your opportunity to make your greatest level of impact, right? Because what happens when we don't acknowledge that we have a unique leadership blueprint, fingerprint and blueprint, right? You start shifting to be something that you're not, right? We start, that imposter syndrome creeps on in, right? And before you know it, you're trying to lead like somebody else versus what you know your creator has gifted and purpose you to do. I will share this with you. Because you have a unique purpose, it requires unique qualifications. Drop that in the chat. I've got a unique purpose and it requires unique qualifications. Can I tell you, my friends, that this unique qualification, there is only one person in the world who is qualified to meet that specific set of qualifications for that unique purpose. Drop in the chat, and that's me. Drop it in there. I'm it. Those 2 words, I'm it. Drop it in the chat. You've got to remember to pause, reflect, like, wait a minute, I am one of one. And that's okay. That's the beautiful thing about this, that I have something so unique to offer the world, to offer this school, to offer this organization. Nobody else can do it like me. So I need to stand in who I am, stand in who I've gifted to be, Not negating that teamwork makes the dream work, right? We need people. Not negating the fact that I've got to be clear and communicating where we are going, but acknowledging that, you know what, you are a special brand, my friend. You are a unique brand. You are one of one. Stand in it. Walk higher. Hold your head up a little higher, right? Square those shoulders back because, again, it's always a great day just to be you. Just be the best version of yourself. You guys, it's been amazing, but you know what I'm going to ask you because I am a teacher at heart. What is your one takeaway from our time tonight? Remember that first mistake is trying to do it in isolation. There's even a quote that talks about, the strength of the pack is the wolf, and then the strength of the pack is the wolf, and then the strength of the wolf is the pack. Right? We're better together. So trying to do it in isolation, hashtag don't do it. I'm telling you, skip that hurdle, friend. You can keep going faster. Skip that one. Here we go. Mistake number 2 is assuming that people know what you are trying to do. Assuming people know the bigger picture. Assuming people have your telescope. Remember, I talk about telescope and microscope all the time. Telescope is the big picture, microscope is the small. Like, as a leader, we've got to be able to switch between the two, right? And assuming that people also have that gift. They don't. And so since they don't, you got to use your voice to make sure that people understand that. And mistake number 3 is underestimating the value of appreciation. I promise you, a good, true, sincere thank you. And y'all stop telling people you appreciate them when you don't. They feel that too. Instead of doing that, figure out what value they bring to the table and make sure we're matching people with talent and what they can add value to, right? So that when you do say, I appreciate you for what you're doing, it's true, right? It's very important that we are impeccable with our words as leaders. And then the last thing is make sure you pause to acknowledge, my friends, you are doing great work. Nobody can do it like you because you are truly one of one. So here we go, dropping on in the chat for me. What is your one takeaway from tonight? And make sure you've liked this video, you've shared it. And for those of you that always, and I appreciate the replays, I really, really do. Even with that, make sure that when it comes to this time, you drop, what's your one takeaway? Come on with it. My one takeaway, let's hear it. While I'm drinking out of my mug my baby bought me for my birthday. The little things, right? What's your one takeaway from our time together tonight? Remember those, again, those 4 mistakes again was doing it in isolation, assuming people know the vision, underestimating the value of appreciation, and then never pausing to acknowledge what you have brought to the table, what the value that you offer. Make sure, y'all, that if you've not grabbed your copy of Boss Moves, that you do that tonight. I cannot tell you the testimonies, the texts, the emails, the flag downs on the side of the road, like saying how much this book is helping people, right? And it's not just people in education, it's people outside of education. Y'all, it's people that don't have degrees and people that have too many degrees. Everybody in between, right, are saying that they are finding this book to be helpful. So make sure that if you've not grabbed your copy, let me drop it in the chat, that you do that. And that even if you have your copy, you've told a friend, hey girl, you need this copy too, right? So here we go. I see you. My takeaway for tonight is that the work cannot be done alone. No, boss Ross. No, ma'am. It cannot. Stop trying to do it. You'll sleep better at night. Teamwork makes the dream work. And remember, the goal is to equip and empower people in a way that they can take your place. That's the goal of the whole deal, baby, to replicate action. Not to replicate you, but to replicate action that lead to greater results. That's what leadership is all about. She said, my takeaway is appreciating people in a way that's meaningful to them. That is so very important. You guys have been absolutely amazing, as you always are. Don't forget to like, follow, and share the page with your friends. Do that for us. That helps all of us spread the good stuff. Remember, it's a great day to be you. Don't stop doing that. The world needs more of that. It needs more of you. And y'all, go make it a great week. Go make some boss moves. Go spread some light. Go spread some love. Y'all have a great week. Be boss.